Like
not in the top 10.
Yeah, I know. Surprising.
So shout out to our girl.
She's shunned.
All right, guys. Told we have to leave you guys.
We've got to run. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. Thanks so much. And Jason, heading out today. You need the jackets?
Yeah, need the jackets, unfortunately, again. I don't actually think you need to take along the sunglasses. You might have to put those back, okay?
Oh.
We have another cold day on tap for us here. We're actually going to be milder again tomorrow, watching that overnight rain Friday into Saturday as well. But I'm also looking ahead at the travel forecast for next week. We'll keep you updated on that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, sounds good, Jason. We'll be streaming, but CBS Mornings starts next.
Have a great day.
Now, streaming on CBS News Boston. This is WBZ News Mornings.
Right now on CBS News Boston, the former president of Harvard with ties to Jeffrey Epstein taking a leave from the university as President Trump signs off on the release of all Epstein files. We've got team coverage, reaction from the university, and next steps for the Justice Department.
Also, a deadly hit and run in Framingham. The latest on the investigation as the accused driver prepares to face a judge.
Plus, new calls for home heating assistance, the push from Governor Healy to give homeowners some relief as temperatures begin to drop.
And it is still unclear who will take the field for the Pats and the Bengals in Cincinnati on Sunday. The status of 2 injured players.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thursday, November 20th. I'm Paula Eben.
I'm Brianna Pitts. The Justice Department now has 30 days to release the Jeffrey Epstein files after President Trump signed the bill passed by Congress.
Yeah, meanwhile, former Harvard president, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers has taken leave from Harvard over his relationship with the convicted sex offender. And we have live team coverage. Jared Hill has more on what's next, but we begin with Anna Myler, live at Harvard. Anna?
Paula and Brianna, pressure has been mounting on Harvard University to cut all ties with Larry Summers. A spokesperson confirms that he is now on leave from teaching and from his role as director of the Center for Business and Government. But some students say that is not enough.
Some of you will have seen my statement of regret, expressing my shame.
I was just feeling a lot of shock, as I think the people around me were as well.
That's Lola DeSantis. She took that now viral video telling us over the phone that the former president of Harvard University, Larry Summers, addressed his ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein before moving on to teach a class this week. Emails released by Congress last week show friendly messages between Summers and Epstein. In one, Summers appears to ask Epstein for relationship advice. In another, Epstein refers to himself as a pretty good wingman. Summers started stepping back from public commitments, but planned to keep teaching. Students believe that video put pressure on him to stop.
Him taking a leave and no longer teaching our community is a good thing. However, I don't think people should view this as a resignation or firing, as he is still very much tied to our university and could come back.
Summers has immediately stopped teaching, and 3 of his co-teachers will finish out this semester. Harvard confirms that he is not scheduled to teach next semester. Live in Cambridge, Anna Myler, WBZ News.
All right, Anna, thank you. And we could learn even more about Epstein's friendships and associates once the files are released.
But a new investigation might impact exactly what is revealed. Our coverage continues now with Jared Hill in New York.
Paul and Brianna, this new Epstein transparency law allows the Attorney General to withhold any information that could jeopardize ongoing investigations. Just last week, the DOJ launched one at Trump's request, raising questions of just how much. We'll see. The clock is ticking on the release of files related to the government's investigation of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Late Wednesday, President Trump said he signed the bill requiring the DOJ to release documents within 30 days. In a lengthy post on social media, the president wrote, "This latest hoax will backfire on the Democrats."
I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, but you know who does have? Bill Clinton,
Larry Summers.
President Trump has never been accused of or charged with any wrongdoing in connection to Epstein. Former President Bill Clinton also denies having any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. President Trump has directed the Justice Department to investigate links between prominent Democrats and the former financier.
The Attorney General does have the power to determine that certain documents, if released, would jeopardize an ongoing investigation.
We think every name should come out, everything.
Top congressional Democrats are pressing for the full, unredacted release of the files. All right, so what could we actually end up seeing? Potentially flight logs, any witness interviews, immunity deals in relation to Epstein, obviously those that are not classified or connected to other investigations. All the while, President Trump is urging Republicans to refocus their messaging and attention on what he sees as social and economic wins. Jared Hill, WBZ News.
Okay, let's check our next weather forecast now with Jason Michael as we look toward the city. Another chilly morning, Jason. And 1 week before Thanksgiving, we got to talk turkey here. What the travel forecast looks like.
Oh, that gobble gobble is going to be certainly wet as we move towards next week as well. We're watching a chance for some rain showers to move into the region the day before Thanksgiving, which is a highly impactful travel day here. We'll talk about conditions increasing cloud cover again today as we are sort of marching towards the end of the week, heading into the weekend here. The final weekend before Thanksgiving again next week. 6:41 was our sunrise earlier this morning. 4:18 will be sunset later on today. And I think we'll likely have more clouds going to deal with here today. We'll have some veiled sunshine in some spots there, filtered in other areas there, but cloud cover will likely be the dominant feature across the skies. For our friends there in Reading and northern Mass, you're waking up with 20s outside as of right now. There may or may not be some icy spots, so watch your step traveling again, or at least walking outside or walking or even navigating around again this morning. We'll be in the 40s arriving for us later on this afternoon here, and for our friends down in Rentham again, we're going to give you a tease on that. They're also going to be in the mid 40s as well, about 44 degrees for the daytime high. North winds fairly light, around 5 miles per hour. Coming up in the full weather forecast, we'll talk about those increasing rain chances as we look towards Thanksgiving next week. We'll talk about your weekend as well, and just how the temperatures will fare. A lot of details coming up in that full weather forecast. Brianna Paula, back over to you.
All right, Jason, thank you. Let's get a check of the roads. We are focusing in on this crash that is in Reading. This is going to be on 128 southbound. It is at the exit for 93. You can see it's causing a lot of stop and go delays stretching through Wakefield, almost back to Route 1 here. So again, that is 128 southbound at 93. We will let you know when they get that cleared up.
Day 3 of jury selection is slated to start later this morning in the trial of Brian Walsh. 12 people have been seated so far on the jury, which will determine whether the Cohasset man killed his wife Anna New Year's Day 2023. Her body still not located. Dozens of potential jurors have so far been dismissed over the last 2 days for their prior knowledge about the case. Now, among the seated jurors, 6 are men, 6 are women. The judge is looking for at least 4 more before the trial moves forward. Walsh has pleaded not guilty to murder, but earlier this week changed his plea to guilty on 2 lesser charges: misleading a police investigation and mishandling a body.
Well, an arrest in a deadly hit and run in Framingham. That driver is accused of hitting a man on a bicycle and then taking off. WBZ's Samantha Cheney is live in Framingham with more.
Good morning, Brianna. The Middlesex DA tells us that 69-year-old Paulo Castro will be arraigned here at the Framingham District Courthouse today. And this courthouse, it sits just right across the street from where that crash actually happened yesterday morning, you guys. So Mr. Castro, he is facing a criminal charge for leaving the scene of personal injury, causing death after allegedly hitting and killing a 43-year-old man who was actually just riding his bike at the intersection of Gorman Road and Concord Street. This all happened just before 10 o'clock in the morning, and police, they say after the crash happened, Castro just took off. We spoke with neighbors in the area yesterday, including one woman who was here when first responders arrived.
Saw up the street something was happening, so we came up, and they were just finishing CPR and he was on the gurney, and they put him in the ambulance. I see him when he rides his bike, and I was just like, oh no. We recognized the orange bike. He just rides his bike back and forth. That's all I know about him. We recognize the orange bike, and it's just so sad. It's just so sad.
Now, the police, they are actively investigating what exactly led up to that crash yesterday. The identity of that victim has not been released just yet. Here in Framingham, I'm Samantha Cheney, WBZ News.
Samantha, thank you. This morning, Governor Healey's calling on President Trump to immediately restore funding for a program that helps people in need to heat their homes. She's holding a press conference today demanding that Trump support the low-income home energy assistance program that helps with bills for families, seniors, and people with disabilities. Funding was frozen during the shutdown, and the president said it would not resume until the end of the month, despite the fact that the government is back open.
Well, just ahead this morning on CBS News Boston, a powerful smell taking over Boston Snowport, the sandwich responsible, and why visitors say the odor is worth it.
You've got the love I need to see me through.
Florence and the Machine, you've got the love. We do around here, and we have a lot of love for our meteorologists because it's been a pretty dry November. I know the drought is a problem, Jason, but it's been kind of nice. It hasn't been that rainy, gray November. We've got the chill now, though.
I know. It seems like the fall season came in here hot and heavy.
Yeah.
I use that very loosely, but it's been going by pretty fast. A lot of the trees, as my dad would say, are naked right now. We're cooling off significantly there, at least for the most part. November, as Paula's just said, has been dry. We've also been a little bit cooler than the average, but it hasn't been terrible, okay? We'll have a bit of a veiled start to our Thursday morning as we sort of get ready to close out the work week here, the final work week before the Thanksgiving holiday. We have some milder conditions moving east of the Mississippi as of right now. It's already reaching even further up into the Midwest as of right now as well. Take a look at some of the conditions that we're going to be tracking here. We're already around 40 degrees in the city of Chicago, 50 there in St. Louis, and 20s in New England. So we got that pocket of cold air still giving us a good old bear hug there. We are tracking some rain chances, okay? A couple instances of getting some rain to move back in. The first section arriving for us Friday night through early Saturday, at least for the first half of our Saturday. We'll talk about that. And then thereafter, watching another system crawling up from the Texas region, crisscrossing the country, moving east of the Mississippi, Ohio River Valley, and eventually moving into New England by the time we get to the day before Thanksgiving, which is a big travel day. We'll talk to you about that as well. As of right now, not only are we dealing with increasing clouds across the board there, we're largely dry. We also have northerly winds across the region, and they're also fairly light. So temperatures have been settling down into the 20s and even lower 30s this morning. I want to draw your attention, though, as we are focused on the holiday coming up next week. Plans are already commencing across the board there. Conditions are ripening up for some wet weather to move back in here. The Pacific North and West is actually going to be the breeding ground for this system. It gets shunted down to the south, down to the Four Corners region, moves across Texas there, garbles up a lot of energy there coming from the Gulf of Mexico, and then makes a beeline straight into New England just in time for the travel day for next Wednesday. As of right now, again, we're going to be focused on our rain chance, the immediate rain chance between Friday night and Saturday. Looks like Saturday is going to feature the most rain chances across the board, but it will not be a washout, okay? We're going to keep temperatures a bit more closer to the normal for our Saturday, around the upper 40s there, mid 40s arriving for us, drier by the time we get to Sunday as well. But this is a system, okay, that's actually bringing a lot of those rain chances into the region. Cold front moves through by Friday evening. So for the most part, our Friday is actually going to be dry. We're just going to have an overcast, gray type of day here. We're going to front load a lot of the wet weather right along with that frontal boundary between midnight and let's say about 9 a.m. on Saturday. The entire Commonwealth will at least get a couple drops in the bucket here, but I think the best rain chances begin for the Boston area, inside 495, including Boston, Boston North, and also Boston South, including the Cape and the Islands. Now, the South Shore of Cape and the Islands will likely have some lingering spot showers as we move towards the afternoon on Saturday. I'm not happy with that because I live on the South Shore, but again, it's not going to be a washout. It's just going to make for a bit of a wet start to the weekend. Lighter winds in and around the area as of right now, down to about 7 miles per hour in the city for our friends there in northern Mass over in Reading. Again, it's a cold start to you, but again, of a drier start. So we're going to give it about a B sort of grade there, 20s and even low 30s to start, more in the mid 40s to finish later today. Not a bad 7-day forecast. Again, as we get towards the final days of November, this will be the final week next week as we look towards the holiday month again next month in December. But again, we'll have a string of 40s and a couple 50s there, Paula.
Well, the top of Mount Washington has been transformed into this winter wonderland. The observatory at the peak's already seen a foot of snow since Sunday and 60 inches during November so far. This National Diabetes Awareness Month, advances in technology such as artificial intelligence are helping diabetes patients better manage their blood sugar. Jared Hill has more.
Deb Biller has had type 2 diabetes for more than a decade. The 63-year-old is working with her doctor to better manage it.
She suggested that I may have to look at insulin, and that just terrified me. I told her that I really didn't want to do that.
Biller enrolled in a study at the Cleveland Clinic testing whether artificial intelligence could help. The technology from Twin Health creates a digital twin of the patient, as wearable sensors monitor blood sugar, weight, blood pressure, exercise, and sleep. The twin guides the patient to make lifestyle changes.
An AI-enabled system of biosensors, including a continuous glucose monitor, as well as physical activity trackers that were coupled with health coaching, which really helped provide the patients with personalized recommendations in real time on how to control their blood sugar.
Dr. Kevin Pantalone led the research. Most adults with diabetes should have an A1C level of 7% or lower. After 1 year, 71% of the tech users lowered their level to below 6.5% while taking only the drug metformin. Only 2.4% of people receiving standard care saw a similar drop.
It learns the patients, it learns their responses to certain medications, the amount of carbohydrate, and actually guides their decision making at the time of eating as to how much carbohydrate to consume, the order of foods to consume, to help prevent these very high excursions of blood sugar.
Participants with help from the digital twin also saw more weight loss and reduced medications like Biller. Her A1C is down to 6.3%.
My diabetes significantly improved. I'm down to one medication, metformin. When I first started, I was 277 pounds. Right now, I'm 225.
She's grateful her overall health is improved. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Well, today, Boston City Council is going to discuss the pros and cons of opening city-owned grocery stores. 2 councilors proposed the idea last month, and they say publicly owned supermarkets would prioritize the community over profit. They say that would allow lower prices and partnerships with local vendors. The public is encouraged to share their thoughts. Today's hearing begins at 2. Well, there's a pungent odor that's going viral at Boston's Snowport holiday market. It's actually cheese. Wafting from this stall selling sandwiches filled with gooey raclette. It's Alpine Swiss melted right onto the bread. Customers say the taste, though, is worth the smell.
Honestly, it is really good. It does smell, but I would rate it a 10 out of 10.
I try not to smell it when I eat it, but it smells like cheese. Like, get over it. If you don't want to smell like cheese, like, don't get it, but it's literally the best thing ever.
If you want to get in the holiday spirit but skip the cheese smell, catch the Snowport tree lighting live right here on WBZ Friday night, December 5th at 7. The Patriots are gearing up for their matchup in Cincinnati Sunday, and it was great to see one injured player back out on the field suited up for practice. Running back Ramondre Stevenson was a limited participant in yesterday's practice after missing the last 3 games due to that toe injury. At this point, it's looking promising for him to return Sunday against the Bengals. Cincinnati is dealing with its own injuries, with quarterback Joe Burrow sidelined since week 2 when he was hurt playing against the Jaguars. But yesterday he was a full participant at practice, meaning he will likely be back to take on the Pats. Join us tomorrow night for Patriots All Access. We'll sit down with Patriots wide receiver Mac Hollins, one of Drake May's bigger targets, Friday night at 7 o'clock on WBZ. And then we've got you covered start to finish on Sunday, beginning with Patriots game day at 11:30. The game kicks off at 1. Afterwards, Patriots 5th quarter, all on WBZ. And we're getting our first look at the newest member of the Patriots family. Cardi B posted these photos of her brand new baby son with wide receiver Stephon Diggs on social media. He's wearing a Pats hat wrapped in a Patriots blankie with his dad's name on it. He was born November 4th. The couple hasn't shared his name yet. Just ahead this morning on CBS News Boston, positive impacts of affordable college. The salary boost that's being seen by graduates in this state. A church in Dorchester is left with nearly $200,000 in a tax bill thanks to T-Mobile antennas. A report by our partners at Axios Boston says Global Ministries Christian Church put up the leased antenna in 2003. The church says it didn't get the bill from the city until 2024, so it totaled $177,000. Well, the church couldn't pay that, so it took T-Mobile to court. The case was settled, but neither side disclosed the terms. The antenna, by the way, is now gone. Graduates who attended any of Massachusetts' 29 public colleges or universities are making more than their peers who did not pursue higher education. According to a first-of-its-kind state report, graduates are making $20,000 to $30,000 more just 5 years after graduation. The Healey administration says that is one of the reasons it's pushing to make higher education more accessible and affordable.
We believe that these college degrees reduce income gaps across any number of demographic lines. They're equalizers. They're tickets to the middle class and far beyond. And it's why we remain so committed to ensuring access for all.
The report also finds those who pursued fields of study like health sciences, STEM, or the trades saw the biggest earnings boost. Up next, the new seasonal flights that are being added from Boston to Europe.
You're watching WBZ News.
Noah Kahan is going to return to Boston tonight. It's a benefit concert at MGM Music Hall. The show will support the Vermont natives nonprofit, the Busyhead Project, and the Red Sox Foundation as well. Tickets for the performance are sold out. Kahan last headlined the venue in 2022, and last year he played 2 sold-out shows at Fenway. JetBlue's adding 2 popular European destinations to its seasonal routes out of Boston starting in the spring. The airline will have service to Milan, Italy, and Barcelona, Spain. Tickets are available now. Still to come in our next half hour, Jason introduces us to the teacher and students behind one of the country's most highly acclaimed school bands and even picks up an instrument himself.
CBS News Boston is now streaming live on our YouTube channel every morning from 7 to 10 a.m. So if you're watching us streaming on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel, CBS News Boston. Now, streaming on CBS News Boston, WBZ News Mornings continues with your top stories.
Cities and towns say they're not getting enough money from the state. In our Question Everything, we're following the money to see where it leads. Also, Moderna adds jobs in Massachusetts as part of their latest effort to move their manufacturing process. And Levin introduces us to the writers, directors, and performers ahead of an annual festival returning to Boston. Welcome back. I'm Paula Eben. Massachusetts cities and towns have a real financial problem. Despite new revenue from cannabis and the millionaire's tax, a new report says there could be an historic fiscal crisis. As David Wade shows us in this morning's Question Everything, one viewer is looking for answers.
On Mansfield's town common, a common theme. Small town charm, big time budget issues. Stan Gilday lives here, and he wonders why there's not enough state money to help out.
Where is this money going?
Stan sent us an email saying he constantly sees stories about fire stations needing improvements, school systems that can't fund teachers, and police that can't hire staff. But instead of saying, where's all the money, he asked,
Where's the beef? The old Wendy's commercial.
Where's the beef? At a local coffee shop, Stan told me about his daughter-in-law, a teacher.
She's always talking about, the cuts and losing teachers and things like that, and it just bothers me.
In the South Shore town of Plimpton, no money means no new firehouse. This one is 50 years old. It's where I met Captain John Sherstead.
We're in a dangerous situation. We're just trying to make the best of that.
The captain says new firehouses usually have decontamination rooms to clean the toxins off their gear after fighting a fire. Here, there's just a small washing machine.
We hang it up in our locker. Now all those contaminants are off-gassing into the station, spreading around the station, into the office, into our living quarters.
And to make room for an ambulance in this firehouse, they actually cut a hole in the wall.
We watch in the mirror and we guide the ladder right into this hole.
When the fire truck backs snug into the hole, the ambulance can then fit. Sort of. But voters decided the town couldn't afford a new firehouse.
They're literally living day to day. Anybody that voted no, I don't hold anything against them.
Let's look at how the average community gets its revenue. The largest chunk comes from local property taxes. Then there's unrestricted state aid. More on that in a moment. There are enterprise funds like water bills and parking tickets. And finally, local receipts. Think motor vehicle excise taxes, meals, and hotel taxes. But back to the state aid that they call UGA, Unrestricted General Government Aid. Basically, here's some money, spend it as you please.
We're at a point where cities and towns are really struggling to make ends meet.
Adam Chapdelaine heads up the Mass Municipal Association, which just published a report declaring a fiscal crisis, saying when you adjust for inflation, there's about 35% less unrestricted money than 20 years ago.
No matter how you slice it, And what that means is that it just gets tighter and tighter.
Proposition 2.5, which became law in 1980, is another handcuff. Cities and towns can't raise property taxes more than 2.5% in a year, and an override is never popular. The state auditor, Diana DiZoglio, believes tackling waste and fraud at the State House might free up more money. Her ballot question last year to allow her to audit the legislature passed, but state leaders still won't allow it to happen. Now she wants another ballot question to put the governor's office under the public records law. Basically, if you want to know how money is being spent, you file a request.
If you call a state agency or department and say that you want to see a receipt, you could actually request those documents, and that state agency is required to give you access to those documents.
Governor Healey's office told me there's a lot more state aid than just the unrestricted money. There's Chapter 70, which gives aid to all school districts. Chapter 90, which specifically pays for local road projects, and some of that came from the millionaire's tax. The governor says all of that funding has grown since she took office. And in a statement, a spokesman said Governor Healey knows municipal leaders are struggling with their budgets, and it's why she's delivered record investments to municipalities.
My taxes keep going up, but I don't see any relief.
But hopefully we did answer Stan Gilday's question. Where's the money? I mean,
where's the beef? Well, if you have a question you'd like us to try to answer, send us an email, questioneverything@cbsboston.com. Let's take a look outside right now. A Thursday morning, nice and dry, Jason Michael. But as we head to the weekend, we know we've got some issues popping up.
Oh, yeah, we're questioning, are we going to get some rain? Are we not going to get some rain? Where's the sunshine as well? We got a lot to unpack here in our weather forecast. We'll do it over the next minute or so, everybody. We're waking up with a veiled start to the morning here. Conditions are a bit more ripe towards another cold start. We're expecting wind chills this morning into the 20s there. We're right around freezing here in the city of Boston and surrounding areas, even up into the Granite State, are in the upper teens as of right now. 418 will be our sunset later on today. I mentioned earlier that we're likely going to have a veiled start to the morning here. We're likely going to have a veiled finish as well. More clouds are going to be raking on in here with those lighter winds. Winds are at their highest in the city of Boston, roughly around 7 miles per hour. We're at the freezing mark again. We have some wind chills down to the freezing mark on the islands as well. You can see they're about 25. It feels like over in Vineyard Haven. 30 degrees between 31 between Worcester and also Providence right now, and lower 20s down towards the South Shore down in Plymouth. As we're looking at those rain chances, okay, I'm going to be very active in trying to kind of pin down exactly what we're going to be expecting the day before Thanksgiving next week. We're already forecasting that we're going to be having some showers threatening the region in that day of travel, but the next uptick in terms of rain chances will be arriving after the midnight hour on Friday night, at least through the first half of our Saturday. We'll break it down in the hour-by-hour, day-by-day forecast coming up in a few minutes there, Paula.
All right, Jason, thanks. Moderna is expanding its facility in Norwood with plans to create hundreds of biomanufacturing jobs. The Cambridge-based drug maker bought the space last year. This is part of their plan to bring its entire manufacturing process to the U.S. Our partners at the Boston Business Journal report that construction is already underway, should be done in 2027. An annual festival is coming back to the Boston area, and it's giving audiences a chance to see theater told through the eyes of South Asian immigrants. Levin's out live this morning in Watertown, introducing us to these writers, directors, performers, and hear what the festival means to them. Levin?
I will say this, Paula, when you get a chance to come through here, it's wonderful because, one, you get a chance to see Moseshian, the theater here in Watertown, and Eliana is here. And Eliana, first and foremost, this is such a great place that people don't even know about.
Thank you so much. It's a 30,000-foot multi-arts center. We have 2 theaters, we have art galleries, we have classrooms for visual and performing arts.
And the South Asian American Theater Festival off Kendrick is a great, this is one of the 3rd times you get a chance to do it, 4th time, I should say, 4th time. How wonderful is it here?
Oh, this is a great place to perform. I mean, we come back here every year to perform because this is a place, this is a vibrant community, and so people can come here from all walks of life and from different communities to come and watch theater here, and there are many artists that are here, that are in residence here, so we we really love coming and performing here. It's a great community to come and perform. And we are performing in 4 or 5 different languages, which is just a small microcosm of South Asia. So we are excited about it.
When you get a chance to talk to so many actors, you've mentioned that you're going to be in so many different languages. It's 40 different languages, maybe 110 different dialects, and you guys are talking and you go back and forth each one of them. How hard is that to do?
English keeps us together. But it's hard, it's not hard, but since we're so used to different culture and languages, I think it comes quite naturally and we understand. Like, even if I'm not speaking a language, after hearing a few times, we kind of get the sense out of it, and it keeps us grounded with our motherland.
How hard was it to get all of this together? And as you're doing, you're doing 10 plays in so many days, and there's obviously different characters for every play.
It's really very difficult. I think the planning, the amount of work that goes is just immense. I think Mo is a much better person to talk about it, but it's really, really a lot of work. Seriously, yes. Yeah.
And I will say, we got a chance earlier to hear the man over here loosen up his tongue as he's learning the different dialects. Do it again for us.
Oh, you want me to go again?
Yeah. I'm going to use that every time I have to do hockey and get the names down because I don't know those names, Paula. And I will say this, you got 3 days, 10 different plays. It starts tomorrow at 6:45 here at the Municipal Theater, and it's just a wonderful spot here in Watertown. It's right at 321 Arsenal Street. So if you get a chance to come through here, come here, and you'll get a chance to see how culture is brought to people from all of the different immigrants that come here, and they're able to bring it to you as well.
Yeah.
Paul, back to you.
Great local theater and event. Levin, thank you. When we come back, Chris takes us on another walk around the city in his latest Walking Boston adventure. Okay, on this Thursday morning, as we look at the city, gray skies, we need a hero here from the weather department to help us out with the cold and to make sure we keep any snow at bay. There's no sign of that before Thanksgiving, Jason. That's one good thing.
Have you looked for him or her?
Yeah.
Where's that hero?
We've seen the top of Mount Washington. We've seen what that looks like. But there might be some rain involved this weekend.
Yeah, I think we're going to be warm enough for some rain to move back in here. I'm watching two systems, Paula. One arriving for us within the next 24 to 36 hours, and another one arriving for us with bad timing, okay, next Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, okay? Let's dive into the sort of metrics of what's happening in our weather forecast over the next 7 to 10 days, everybody. We have mostly cloudy skies in and around the area as of right now. You can see they're pushing eastbound on the Mass Pike, moving out into the Gulf of Maine there. We have northerly winds here at the surface, actually keeping us a bit colder than the average to start out again this morning. Our next system is actually in the mid-Mississippi River Valley region as of right now. The system behind that will likely move into the region by next Tuesday and Wednesday. Is just in the Pacific North and West as of right now. Let's focus on that one quickly here because we're going to have a lot of energy firing out of the Four Corners region, moving across Texas there. That system will get shunted down to the south, move across the Four Corners, again, gobble up a lot of energy from the deep south. We're going to have southerly winds actually coming off the Gulf of Mexico. We'll be harboring in a lot of moisture there, and that'll be thrown right back into our area between Wednesday and Thursday of next week. On our doorsteps, though, right now will not only be some cloud cover, but also those colder winds. We're going to actually have some south winds moving into the region tomorrow, which is why we're going to be elevating our temperatures from the mid to lower 40s today into the upper 40s and low 50s for us tomorrow. Then comes a cold front that's actually going to upset the region and also allow for some rain to move back in. That system in the mid-Mississippi River Valley region is actually going to be front loading a lot of moisture between Friday night and early Saturday. So any sort of travel past 11 p.m. on Friday night through at least about 6 a.m. on Saturday morning will be wet and also dangerous as well. Any sort of overnight conditions when you get some pretty steady rain, that sort of reflection happening from the headlights, and also the slippery conditions that we have outside because, again, we're on the fall season. A lot of the leaves are already on the ground as well. That's also going to help to allow for some very dangerous travel. So we'll be in the mid to upper 40s for us on Saturday. We're going to have those west winds moving in from the south and also west. They're elevating our conditions, at least for the first half of the weekend. And then we're going to be drier with more sunshine arriving for us by Sunday. I mentioned earlier we have some northerly winds in and around the area right now. They're a bit busy in the city, so we have wind chills in the 20s as of right now, 30s in the areas west, upper teens north of the state border there, and 20s and 30s out in the Cape and even the islands. So for northern Mass, though, kids are going to be bundling up again this morning, but also still needing the jackets later on today. Current temperatures, when you're just mainly talking about the air temperatures, we're right at freezing here in the city of Boston. But again, the wind chills are taking us back into the mid-20s. We'll be around the mid-40s later on today. That's exactly where we were yesterday, so we're likely going to do it again today before the milder conditions arrive for us tomorrow. Again, we're going to be back into the 40s for Saturday and Sunday. Again, keeping a close eye, at least on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. But again, early travel on Monday and Tuesday, I don't think we'll have any sort of weather woes, Paula. But the day before Thanksgiving is going to be closely watched.
Okay, because that's a busy day. Jason, thanks. It's a bit chilly outside today. Good day for a walk around the city before the rain moves in. Don't know where to start? WBZ's Chris Tanaka has got you covered walking Boston on Thwing Street in Roxbury.
All right, think for a second. Tell me the strangest name you've ever heard. Walking Boston on Thwing Street in Roxbury. When I saw this on a map, I said, hold up, something isn't right here. I better get in the thwing of things and check it out. Well, it turns out Thwing isn't a thing. Thwing is a someone. Now, the Thwings were a prominent Roxbury family whose lineage was chronicled by Walter Thwing. He was a genealogist who published the family tree. His sister Annie was a historian who wrote the book, The Crooked and Narrow Streets of the Town of Boston. I've actually referenced it back to the weird name thing. Their father was named Supply Clap Thwing. The craziest thing about this story is that Supply Clap Thwing isn't an original name. He was named after his grandfather, Supply Clap.
Oh, those are the fun facts you learn from Chris Tanaka. If you want more of his Walking Boston series, visit his Instagram and TikTok pages at Chris Tanaka WBZ. Well, it was a late night for the Bruins taking on the Ducks in Anaheim. The Ducks kicked it off, going up by 2 in the first. Bruins' Morgan Geekie was able to sneak one in, but the Ducks carried the lead into the third until Geekie scored again, tying it up at 3. Wasn't enough, though. Bees fall 4-3. They'll take on the Kings in LA tomorrow night. Well, there's a Massachusetts high school band program so impressive it's racking up awards and national recognition. But as Jason shows us, the students aren't in it for the glory for them. It's really all about the music.
It happens here, Rentham.
A popular mecca for discount shopping and former home to both Helen Keller and John Cena, the town was first incorporated back in 1673 after settlers purchased the land from Wampanoag chief Metacomet, also known as King Philip. He's the namesake for King Philip Regional High School. It's home of one of the country's most highly acclaimed band programs. This is just an average practice day for the high school jazz band. I've been hearing great things about these, quote, cool cats, and as a former band kid myself, I had to come check them out in person.
I think one thing that sets King Philip apart is the sustained excellence across everything that we do.
That's band director Michael Keogh. He says his students work incredibly hard to sound so good, and they're passionate about what they do.
I think it feels really surreal to kind of be given kind of this opportunity.
That program is flourishing, and just this month, the King Philip High School Marching Band was named national champion for the second straight year, and the jazz band was a finalist in the prestigious Essentially Ellington High School Jazz Band Festival.
What do you think drives that success?
Leadership from older students to younger students. The leadership starts obviously from Mr. Keogh.
Mr. Keogh's take is the students have themselves to thank for putting in the time and the effort.
I think that students on all levels are driven to be part of something that's of high quality.
And looking around at this group of musicians, you see students, but you hear professionals. All right, kids, hit it. As I listened to these teens put their heart and soul into their performance, it made me miss my years as a drum major, band conductor, and saxophone player. Luckily, the band said they have room for one more. The verdict?
And I thought your effort was really outstanding.
Effort was outstanding, even though my talent may not have been.
I think that talent's all relative. You had some tough competition out there.
They told me it's not just music that brings them joy, it's how much the band program matters to the community.
It feels really great that I can be a part of something people look at and go, wow, look what they're providing to our town.
The national recognition doesn't hurt either.
The accolades, the medals, I'm not going to pretend they're not nice, but I think the direction of this program always has and always will be just make good music, play good music at the highest level possible, and I can't think of a better accolade than that.
At the end of the day, it's about loving music and making it a part of your life, even if you're like me and a little bit rusty.
Nobody ever regrets playing an instrument. People only regret giving it up. So find the way that music drives you and make it your own.
Can I just say, I love seeing you conduct, but also play the sax.
Oh
my
gosh, I'm surprised I actually remember how to still put my reed on there with being one of those famed woodwinds, everybody. All right, if you are teased to go take a look and also a listen to some of these bright, young, talented young men and women. They're having a concert, Paula, on the 13th. Next month, it's going to be at the auditorium there down at King Philip Regional High School. This is their Holiday Pops concert. It's going to be at 7 p.m. And then they're also having a jazz night on the 17th, also at 7 p.m.
Everybody loves finding a local holiday concert they can go to. Great music. They are...
And a soloist.
Very talented.
Oh, yeah.
Soloists. Every professional musician you know of will tell you that's where they began.
Yeah.
That's where it all starts.
And you know what? When I was interviewing those students, I began playing the sax in 6th grade.
Yeah.
They began in 4th grade.
Wow. Yeah.
So they will easily have 8 years of playing.
Wonderful tradition
Absolutely.
in that town. Great story. Great
Thank
to hear you play. Jason, thank you. Coming up after the break, advice from one company if you're hosting Thanksgiving dinner this season.
It Happens Here is brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. You're watching WBZ News.
Okay, this is when we got to talk turkey. If you're hosting Thanksgiving, today might be the day you move your turkey from the freezer to the fridge. Yes, a week in advance. Butterball has declared this National Thaw Day. The company recommends that you allow for 1 day of thawing for every 4 pounds of turkey. Earlier this week, the Butterball hotline shared some of their wildest calls for help. Among them, someone who asked if it was okay to wash their turkey in the dishwasher. That would be a no. And another who asked about the best way to cook the turkey that had been stored in their freezer since 1969. If you have a turkey from the Johnson administration, you got bigger problems than how to cook it. Let's just leave it at that. I'm Paula Eben. You're watching CBS News Boston. We'll be back right after the break. But first, a look at what's ahead at 8 o'clock. The former president of Harvard takes a leave of absence from even teaching at the university over the Jeffrey Epstein case as President Trump signs a bill ordering the release of all the Epstein files. And 12 jurors seated so far in the trial of a Cohasset man accused of killing his wife. The reason jury selection's going kind of slow as day 3 of the process gets underway this morning. That's all coming up at 8. Stay with us. We'll be back with more news and your next weather forecast.
.56, welcome to your Thursday morning, everybody. 20s outside again this morning and near freezing here in the city of Boston. Mid-40s arriving later today, but also clouds going to be the dominant feature across the skies there. Milder tomorrow. Winds are going to be coming out of the west-southwest again tomorrow. Overnight rain between midnight and about 9 a.m. on Saturday. Some of those lingering showers could be across areas south once we get into Saturday afternoon. We'll keep our temperatures in the 40s through the end of the week and into early next week. And we're also going to be tracking potential for some rain chances arriving the day before Thanksgiving.
All right, we're going to pay attention to that. Jason, thanks. Our top story, a small plane was forced to make an emergency landing in Hyannis after its landing gear failed. Officials say this plane landed, as you see, on its belly, skidding across the runway at Cape Cod Gateway Airport yesterday morning, but the pilot and passenger were both okay. If you're watching us on CBS News,
Right now on CBS News Boston, as President Trump signs the bill calling for the release of the Epstein files, a Harvard professor with ties to the convicted sex offender is taking a leave of absence. Day 3 of jury selection today in the Brian Walsh murder case. How many jurors are seated so far and why so many potential jurors have been dismissed. And an injured Pats player back in uniform and on the practice field. What we know about his status ahead of Sunday's game as the Bengals bring back one of their own sideline stars.
Now, streaming on CBS News Boston. This is WBZ News Mornings.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us on this Thursday. I'm Brianna Pitts. The Justice Department now has 30 days to release the Jeffrey Epstein files after President Trump signed the bill passed by Congress. Meanwhile, former Harvard president Larry Summers has taken leave from the university over his relationship with the convicted sex offender. We have team coverage. Jared Hill has more on what is next with the files, but we begin with Anna Myler at Harvard.
Pressure has been mounting on Harvard University to cut all ties with Larry Summers. A spokesperson confirms he is now on leave from teaching and from his role as director of the Center for Business and Government. But some students say it's not enough.
Some of you will have seen my statement of regret, expressing my shame.
I was just feeling a lot of shock, as I think the people around me were as well.
That's Lola DeSantis. She took this now viral video telling us over the phone that the former president of Harvard University, Larry Summers, addressed his ties to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein before moving on to teach a class this week. Emails released by Congress last week show friendly messages between Summers and Epstein. In one of them, Summers appears to ask Epstein for relationship advice. In another, Epstein refers to himself as a pretty good wingman. Summers started stepping back from public commitments but planned to keep on teaching. Students believe that video put pressure on him to stop.
Him taking a leave and no longer teaching our community is a good thing. However, I don't think people should view this as a resignation or firing, as he is still very much tied to our university and could come back.
Summers has immediately stopped teaching. 3 of his co-teachers will finish out this semester. Harvard confirms he is not scheduled to teach next semester. In Cambridge, Anna Myler, WBZ News.
And we could learn even more about Epstein's friendships and associates once the files are released. But a new investigation might impact exactly what's revealed. Our coverage continues with Jared Hill in New York.
The clock is ticking on the release of files related to the government's investigation of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Late Wednesday, President Trump said he signed the bill requiring the DOJ to release documents within 30 days. In a lengthy post on social media, the president wrote, "This latest hoax will backfire on the Democrats."
I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein, but you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers.
President Trump has never been accused of or charged with any wrongdoing in connection to Epstein. Former President Bill Clinton also denies having any knowledge of Epstein's crimes. President Trump has directed the Justice Department to investigate links between prominent Democrats and the former financier.
The Attorney General does have the power to determine that certain documents, if released, would jeopardize an ongoing investigation.
We think every name should come out, everything.
Top congressional Democrats are pressing for the full, unredacted release of the files.
All right, let's take a look outside over the city and get a check of that next weather forecast with Jason Michael. Jason, it does just kind of look cold as you take a look out there.
It's a film over the city as of right now, and that film is cloud cover, friends. We're waking up again with a very, very soft glow in the horizon again this morning. We are expecting more clouds to unfortunately sort of cruise across the landscape later on today here. We're going to be moisture starved, so we're expecting a drier day, but it's also going to be a colder and also a very gray day as well. The warmest pocket of air is across the center of the country as of right now, down in the sort of mid-Atlantic, the Mississippi, the Ohio River Valley region as well. Northern areas of the Midwest are significantly colder as well, and even out west as of right now. We just have that lobe of colder conditions across New England. It's kind of taking the top spot in terms of the coldest air in the lower 48. 4:18 will be our sunset time later on today. We're going to have those passing clouds kind of hanging overhead here. 34 degrees. We are up from the freezing mark in the city of at Boston, but the feels like conditions outside right now are at about 27 degrees. Dew point temperatures are dry yet again, so we don't have any sort of major factors there. For our friends there in northern Mass, we have some 20s and lower 30s around recess later on this morning, and even as you're going to be heading home later on this afternoon, parents picking up the kids are going to make sure that they still have those jackets because they're going to need them as well. Northerly winds are keeping us cooler than the average again today. Wind chills are still in the 20s, but still some of the upper teens are beginning to erode away and allow for more of the 20s on tap as well. We have rain chances arriving Friday night through early Saturday. At least the first half of our Saturday is going to be wet and also a bit clammy there. As we're looking into early next week, I don't feel really good about the timeline of our next rain chance. Looks like it's going to be arriving the day before Thanksgiving, the big travel day, Brianna. We'll talk about that coming up in the full weather forecast.
All right, Jason, thank you. Well, jury selection continues today in the Brian Walsh murder trial. So far, 12 have been seated. WBZ's Penny Commit shows us what the prosecution and defense teams are looking for as they interview candidates.
Will persist until we get to 16 at least.
Day 2 of jury selection in the high-profile trial of Brian Walsh ends with 3 new jurors seated, far less than the 9 seated Tuesday.
I think that was just sheer luck in terms of seating the number of jurors that they did. I think today's pace, although slow, is probably more indicative of how this impanelment process is going to go.
Prosecutors say Walsh killed his wife and mother of his 3 young children, Anna, in 2023 after suspecting she was having an affair. So far, 82 potential jurors have been interviewed. Dozens have expressed prior knowledge of the case. 6 men and 6 women have now been selected.
I think the prosecution is looking for a stay-at-home parent, preferably a stay-at-home mom. Defense is looking for somebody who has probably been divorced or has a close family member who's been divorced, because going through marital troubles does not mean you murder your spouse. And that's part of the defense theory in this case.
WBZ legal analyst Jennifer Roman says the expected 3 to 4 week length of this trial and the timing of it are likely playing a factor.
The holidays is definitely going to complicate what's already sort of a difficult challenge in a long case like this. It's going to make people less available.
But Roman questions whether or not a trial will happen at all after Walsh pleaded guilty to 2 of the 3 charges against him. A larger strategy, she believes, to get his first-degree murder charge downgraded to second-degree and preserve his possibility of parole.
That if the prosecution agrees to reduce the charge, a plea could come at any time, even while the jury is deliberating.
Dozens of potential jurors have been called in for today. The judge hoping to get to a total of 16, so that means we would need 4 more. In Dedham, I'm Penny Commit, WBZ News.
Well, an arrest in a deadly hit and run in Framingham. That driver is accused of hitting a man on a bicycle and then taking off. WBZ's Samantha Cheney is in Framingham with more.
The Middlesex DA tells us that suspect, 69-year-old Paulo Castro, will be arraigned here at the Framingham District Courthouse later today. And it sits just right across the street from where that tragic crash actually happened Wednesday morning. Mr. Castro is facing a criminal charge for leaving the scene of personal injury causing death after he allegedly hit and killed a 43-year-old man who was just riding his bike at the intersection of Gorman Road and Concord Street. This all happened just before 10 o'clock in the morning, and police say after that crash happened, Castro just took off. We spoke with neighbors in the area yesterday, including one woman who was here when first responders arrived.
We saw up the street something was happening, so we came up and they were just finishing CPR and he was on the gurney, and they put him in the ambulance. I see him when he rides his bike, and I was just like, oh no. We recognized the orange bike. He just rides his bike back and forth. That's all I know about him. I think we recognize the orange bike, and it's just so sad. It's just so sad. You know, can't even ride your bike in your own neighborhood.
Now, the police, they are investigating this incident right now. The identity of that victim has not yet been released. Here in Framingham, I'm Samantha Cheney, WBZ News.
Well, Governor Healy is calling on President Trump to immediately restore funding for a program that helps people in need heat their homes. She is holding a press conference today demanding that Trump support the low-income home energy assistance program that helps with bills for families, seniors, and people with disabilities. Funding was frozen during the shutdown, and Trump said it wouldn't resume until the end of the month, despite the government being back open. Well, the Patriots are gearing up for their matchup in Cincinnati on Sunday, and it was great to see one injured player back on the field, suited up for practice. Running back Ramondre Stevenson was a limited participant in yesterday's practice after missing the last 3 games due to a toe injury. At this point, it's looking promising for him to return this Sunday against the Bengals. And Cincinnati is dealing with its own injuries, with quarterback Joe Burrow sidelined since week 2 when he was playing hurt, or when he was hurt, rather, playing against the Jaguars. But yesterday, he was a full participant at practice. His status for Sunday is still unknown at this point. Well, just ahead this morning on CBS News Boston, sitting down with a top high school band, Jason grabs an instrument and shows us why they're so successful.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Let's talk about those rain chances arriving for us here. We have rain moving into our region here. Once we get to about Friday night into early Saturday, overnight travel, okay? If you're an overnight person or even an early riser, we're likely to have a very wet start to our Saturday morning for the start of the weekend. We are back dry by the end of the weekend. Sunday into Monday, little to no rain chances, okay? Only about 5%. That is nothing, okay? Once we look towards Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, certainly as we're going to be traveling to getting to our Thanksgiving Day celebrations there. So this is going to pose a threat for a lot of the region there if you're going to be sort of leaving town late on Wednesday. Let's talk about the conditions outside as of right now. We are moisture starved in terms of any sort of energy into the region there. Overcast skies were notably gray across the region, but a wider scan is showing not only do we have some activity happening across the center of the country as well, we also have some energy arriving coming onshore in the Pacific North and West, and that will likely affect us here. I'll tell you about that in just a few moments. But this is actually going to be our next system arriving between Friday night and early Saturday. Overall, a lot of the energy that we're going to be receiving over the next couple weeks or so is helping us to get more and more in flux with a lot of the winter conditions arriving for us once winter officially begins next month. We're cooling things back down in the overnights and also the daytime hours, and we're actually beginning to see a lot more wintry activity begin to happen as well. The Great Lakes, for example, are still noticeably warm, but we have a lot of that cold Arctic air coming off of the Great Lakes or riding over the Great Lakes, helping to ignite more of those lake effect snow showers. We're not dealing with that for the rest of the week into the weekend. We're just mainly going to be dealing with rain because we're going to be warmer than the freezing mark across the vast majority of New England. Let's talk about that system arriving potentially for us the day before Thanksgiving. Not only will it be moving onshore today for the Pacific Northwest, it's actually going to be shunted down to the south. It's going to garble up a lot of energy, harbor a lot of moisture from the Gulf Coast. And as we look towards about Tuesday and Wednesday, a lot of that energy makes a beeline straight into New England, and that will arrive for us by Wednesday, at least midweek of next week. We have a cold front inbound to the region by Friday night to early Saturday. That lobe of energy that you saw down towards the St. Louis region, this is it. Okay, it arrives for us by Friday night, and a lot of the energy is going to be front loaded right along with that cold front as we get towards about midnight for Friday night. Through about 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. at the very latest for our Saturday here, we're going to allow for some pretty steady rain, okay? Even if you're going to be in the Merrimack Valley, maybe north into the Portsmouth region, you're going to still be dealing with rain as well. No wintry precip is going to be expected there. Some lingering spot showers will mainly be possible for Boston, also the South Shore and the Cape, even as we move into the afternoon, unfortunately, for our Saturday. I'm not expecting our Saturday to be a washout. We're just going to have some gray skies and a little bit of wet weather arrive here. Will be a little bit milder for us on Saturday, and even Sunday we're going to be drying things out back into the 40s. So a couple days of being mild, and I use mild very loosely. We're only going to be around 50 degrees for tomorrow. A little bit warmer as we look towards midweek next week, but again, we're also going to be bringing rain into the weather forecast as well by Wednesday of next week, Brianna.
Okay, Jason. Well, a Massachusetts high school band program is racking up awards and national recognition, but as Jason Michael shows us, the students are not in it for the glory. For them, it is all about the music.
It happens here, Rentham, a popular mecca for discount shopping and former home to both Helen Keller and John Cena. The town was first incorporated back in 1673 after settlers purchased the land from Wampanoag chief Metacomet, also known as King Philip. He's the namesake for King Philip Regional High School. It's home of one of the country's most highly acclaimed band programs. This is just an average practice day for the high school jazz band. I've been hearing great things about these, quote, cool cats, and as a former band kid myself, I had to come check them out in person.
I think one thing that sets King Philip apart is the sustained excellence across everything that we do.
That's band director Michael Keogh. He says his students work incredibly hard to sound so good, and they're passionate about what they do.
I think it feels really surreal to kind of be given kind of this opportunity.
That program is flourishing, and just this month, the King Philip High School Marching Band was named national champion for the second straight year. And the jazz band was a finalist in the prestigious Essentially Ellington High School Jazz Band Festival.
What do you think drives that success?
Leadership from older students to younger students. The leadership starts obviously from Mr. Keogh.
Mr. Keogh's take is the students have themselves to thank for putting in the time and the effort.
I think that students on all levels are driven to be part of something that's of high quality.
And looking around at this group of musicians, you see students, but you hear professionals. All right, kids, hit it. As I listened to these teens put their heart and soul into their performance, it made me miss my years as a drum major, band conductor, and saxophone player. Luckily, the band said they have room for one more. The verdict?
And I thought your effort was really outstanding.
Effort was outstanding, even though my talent may not have been.
I think that talent's all relative. You had some tough competition out there.
They told me it's not just music that brings them joy, it's how much the band program matters to the community.
It feels really great that I can be a part of something people look at and go, wow, look what they're providing to our town.
The national recognition doesn't hurt either.
The accolades, the medals, I'm not going to pretend they're not nice, but I think the direction of this program always has and always will be just make good music, play good music at the highest level possible, and I can't think of a better accolade than that.
At the end of the day, it's about loving music and making it a part of your life, even if you're like me and a little bit rusty.
Nobody ever regrets playing an instrument. People only regret giving it up. So find the way that music drives you and make it your own.
And that was Jason Michael reporting. Well, today, Boston City Council will discuss the pros and cons of opening city-owned grocery stores. Two councilors proposed the idea last month, and they say publicly owned supermarkets would prioritize the community over profit. They say that would allow lower prices and partnerships with local vendors. The public is encouraged to share their thoughts. Today's hearing begins at 2. And JetBlue is adding 2 popular European destinations to its seasonal routes out of Boston. Starting this spring, the airline will have service to Milan, Italy, and Barcelona, Spain. Tickets are available now. Well, just ahead this morning on CBS News Boston, a stinky sandwich going viral at Boston's Snowport. But is it good enough to put up with the smell?
It Happens Here is brought to you by your New England Chevy dealers. You're watching WBZ News.
A pungent odor is going viral at Boston's Snowport Holiday Market. It's actually cheese wafting from a stall that is selling sandwiches filled with gooey raclette melted right onto the bread. Customers say the taste is worth the smell.
Honestly, it is really good. It does smell, but I would rate it a 10 out of 10.
I try not to smell it when I eat it, but it smells like cheese. Like, get over it. If you don't want to smell like cheese, like, don't get it, but it's literally the best thing ever.
All right, well, if you want to get into the holiday spirit but skip the cheese smell, you can catch the Snowport tree lighting live on WBZ Friday night, December 5th at 7 o'clock. Well, coming up next, the Grammy-winning New England musician playing in Boston tonight to support a good cause.
You're watching WBZ News.
A Dorchester church left with a nearly $200,000 tax bill thanks to T-Mobile and an antenna. A report by our partners at Axios Boston says Global Ministries Christian Church put up the leased antenna in 2003. The church says it didn't get a bill from the city until 2024 when it totaled $177,000. The church couldn't pay, so it took T-Mobile to court and the case was settled, but neither side disclosed the terms, and now that antenna is gone. Noah Kahan will return to Boston tonight for a benefit concert at MGM Music Hall. The show will support the Vermont Natives nonprofit, the Busy Head Project, and the Red Sox Foundation. Tickets for the performance are sold out. Kahan last headlined the venue in 2022, and last year he played 2 sold-out shows at Fenway. Still to come in our next half hour, Massachusetts cities and towns have a money problem despite new revenue from cannabis and the millionaire's tax. In the latest Question Everything, David Wade examines why a new report says there could be a historic fiscal crisis.
CBS News Boston is now streaming live on our YouTube channel every morning from 7 to 10 a.m. So if you're watching us streaming on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel, CBS News Boston. Now, streaming on CBS News Boston, WBZ News Mornings continues with your top stories.
Right now on CBS News Boston, cities and towns say they are not getting enough money from the state. We are following the money to see where it leads us. Certain college graduates are thriving around the state. The new report breaking down the financial perks of a public college education. And a local technical school opening its doors to adults, the trades that they'll be offering classes in the new year. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brianna Pitts. Well, Massachusetts cities and towns have a money problem. Despite new revenue from cannabis and the millionaire's tax, a new report says there could be a historic fiscal crisis. As David Wade shows us in today's Question Everything, one viewer is looking for answers.
On Mansfield's Town Common, a common theme. Small town charm, big time budget issues. Stan Gilday lives here, and he wonders why there's not enough state money to help out.
Where is this money going?
Stan sent us an email saying he constantly sees stories about fire stations needing improvements, school systems that can't fund teachers, and police that can't hire staff. But instead of saying, "Where's all the money?" he asked,
"Where's the beef?" The old Wendy's commercial.
"Where's the beef?" At a local coffee shop, Stan told me about his daughter-in-law, a teacher.
She's always talking about, the cuts and losing teachers and things like that, and it just bothers me.
In the South Shore town of Plimpton, no money means no new firehouse. This one is 50 years old. It's where I met Captain John Sherstead.
We're in a dangerous situation. We're just trying to make the best of that.
The captain says new firehouses usually have decontamination rooms to clean the toxins off their gear after fighting a fire. Here, there's just a small washing machine.
We hang it up in our locker. Now all those contaminants are off-gassing into the station, spreading around the station, into the office, into our living quarters.
And to make room for an ambulance in this firehouse, they actually cut a hole in the wall.
We watch in the mirror and we guide the ladder right into this hole.
When the fire truck backs snug into the hole, the ambulance can then fit. Sort of. But voters decided the town couldn't afford a new firehouse.
They're literally living day to day. Anybody that voted no, I don't hold anything against them.
Let's look at how the average community gets its revenue. The largest chunk comes from local property taxes. Then there's unrestricted state aid. More on that in a moment. There are enterprise funds like water bills and parking tickets. And finally, local receipts. Think motor vehicle excise taxes, meals, and hotel taxes. But back to the state aid that they call UGA, Unrestricted General Government Aid. Basically, here's some money, spend it as you please.
We're at a point where cities and towns are really struggling to make ends meet.
Adam Chapdelaine heads up the Mass Municipal Association, which just published a report declaring a fiscal crisis, saying when you adjust for inflation, there's about 35% less unrestricted money than 20 years ago.
No matter how you slice it. And what that means is that it just gets tighter and tighter.
Proposition 2.5, which became law in 1980, is another handcuff. Cities and towns can't raise property taxes more than 2.5% in a year, and an override is never popular. The state auditor, Diana DiZoglio, believes tackling waste and fraud at the State House might free up more money. Her ballot question last year to allow her to audit the legislature passed, but state leaders still won't allow it to happen. Now she wants another ballot question, to put the governor's office under the public records law. Basically, if you want to know how money is being spent, you file a request.
If you call a state agency or department and say that you want to see a receipt, you could actually request those documents, and that state agency is required to give you access to those documents.
Governor Healey's office told me there's a lot more state aid than just the unrestricted money. There's Chapter 70, which gives aid to all school districts. Chapter 90, which specifically pays for local road projects, and some of that came from the millionaire's tax. The governor says all of that funding has grown since she took office. And in a statement, a spokesman said Governor Healey knows municipal leaders are struggling with their budgets, and it's why she's delivered record investments to municipalities.
My taxes keep going up, but I don't see any relief.
But hopefully we did answer Stan Gilday's question. Where's the money? I mean, where's the beef?
Well, if you have a question you would like us to answer, send us an email, questioneverything@cbsboston.com. All right, let's get a look outside. It just kind of looks icy and frosty out there. It's cold, and we do have a lot of clouds, so less sunshine than we had earlier in the week, Jason.
Oh, but I have a present for you. You see a live look on the harbor as of right now. There it is. We're starting to get just a couple peaks here of sunshine. We're kind of going to be dealing with this narrative throughout the course of our Thursday, everybody. We'll have more of a veiled and also maybe some filtered sunshine here and there, but cloud cover will be the dominant feature again today. We are raking in some extra clouds coming in from the west, moving out to the Gulf of Maine here for the remainder of our Thursday. Thursday is going to be dry, okay, including today, as well as tomorrow is going to be dry as well. Our next system is right about here. It's actually going to be going just to the south of us, but also spraying the region with some extra rain showers as well. Milder conditions are south of the Mason-Dixon line. We're just still dealing with a lobe of cold air in areas north. Once you get north of New York City here, there's our next system, as I was just sort of warning you there. But back over towards the Pacific North and West, this is going to be our next system watching after tomorrow night's feature. We have 4:18 for our sunset later on today. December 8th will be a 4:11 sunset. And as we get towards December 9th and also 10th, we're going to be sort of kind of beginning to sort of tiptoe and add seconds, if not a couple minutes, day by day, once we get back to the spring season. So February 3rd, mark your calendars. This one could be past 5 p.m. for a sunset. We're at 34 degrees for the city of Boston as of right now. Visibility is absolutely pristine. Winds are out of the northwest, keeping us a bit on the frosty side, as Brianna was saying, around 8 miles per hour. Calmer winds along the South Shore as well as northern Mass again this morning. So we're still going to be cloudy and also cool with temperatures in the lower 40s for the rest of the afternoon. We'll talk about your weekend and also next week's rain chance, Brianna, coming up.
All right, Jason, thank you. Well, graduates who attended any of Massachusetts' 29 public colleges or universities are making more than their peers that didn't pursue a higher education. According to a first-of-its-kind state report, graduates are making $20,000 to $30,000 more just 5 years after graduation. The Healey administration says it's one of the reasons that it's pushing to make higher education more accessible and affordable.
We believe that these college degrees
reduce income gaps across any number of demographic lines. They're equalizers. They're tickets to the middle class and far beyond. And it's why we remain so committed to ensuring access for all.
The report also finds that those who pursued fields of study like health sciences, STEM, and the trades saw the biggest earnings boost. Well, cars with big driver's side blind spots are more likely to be involved in crashes with pedestrians. A new study from the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety measured things like hood length, size, side mirror size, and field of view offered, and they found that the cars with the most obstructed views were 70% more likely to hit pedestrians while making a left-hand turn. Researchers say trends toward taller and blunter SUVs and pickups may be partially to blame.
I think for the automakers, it's going to be a challenge for them to find ways to address these problems that do not diminish the protection for the vehicle occupant.
Well, they say more can be done to improve pedestrian visibility. That includes giving walkers more time before lights turn green and adding curb extensions. Well, a technical school in Upton is opening up its doors to adults that want to learn a trade. The Blackstone Valley Technical High School will offer a new program made up of 5 major courses. Starting in January, adults will be able to take classes in plumbing, HVAC, electrical, machining, welding. The school's also offering personal enrichment classes focused on topics like first aid, nutrition, and yoga. To start, you just need a high school diploma or a GED, and if you make less than $56,000 a year, the program is free.
The idea is that somebody could still hold down a day job, but come do some training at night if they want to, change their career aspirations.
Blackstone Valley Tech says it hopes to get between 80 and 100 students in the first year of the program. Well, an annual festival is coming back to the Boston area, giving audiences a chance to see theater told through the eyes of South Asian immigrants. Levin is out live this morning in Watertown to introduce us to the writers, directors, and performers to hear what the festival means to them. Levin.
I will tell you what, Brianna, the South Asian American Theater Festival is going on. It starts tomorrow, and it's going to go for 3 days. You're going to get 10 plays, and one of the plays is right here. And I'm talking to Ashok, and Ashok, first say the play in when it is there, and then say it in American.
It's called Guntata Hruday Hai, and English translation is Entangled Heart. Mm-hmm. It is a story about old couple living in India whose children have migrated to U.S., and it is the dilemma of, live behind India everything and come to U.S. or stay in India. So they are constant battle, and it's a story of generations which never going to end.
I've got to ask you, just mentioned it. This stuff that goes on right now.
Yes, absolutely. I have faced it. My next generation will face it, and it's not an ending story. Your beloveds are abroad, and you have belongings in India or whatever native country. So it's not going to change.
Durgesh, when you get a chance to put this play together, you directed this play. How much did you make sure that it's close to the everything that goes on in every country to make sure that everybody was related to it?
Yeah, I think it was important because the immigrant story is the same across. And so it was important to get the right actors and also consult with the writer to make sure that we have universal themes, such as the friend circle, your comfort zone, the fear of the unknown. Make it universal.
You talk about the immigrant story. I mean, people come from different backgrounds, but the immigrant story seems to be very similar.
Yes, the immigrant story is always very similar because you have your friend circle, you have your family, you have your network back home. There's a language barrier often times. And then when you come here, you're starting from scratch. That's a universal story, especially as you get older.
Ivanka, as you were writing this, you were one of the writer on this. How was it for you to write it? Did you write from personal experience?
I would say that came naturally because I'm living through the same phase right now. And I meet people who have been through this phase, who have spent years in this, living in this phase. So I was able to get their inputs as well. So I would say it came naturally.
I would say this, you're one of the faces on this, and so is Durgesh, and so is Ashok. But at the same time, you're writing. So was there a point where you were like, hey, you're saying my words wrong? I don't know what you guys are doing, but that's not how I wrote it.
Well, that's a good question. And And I was actually fortunate to have worked with Durgesh and Ashok because their experience exceeds far beyond what I've experienced because I've been in the US for just 7 years.
Right.
So actually, in this case, it was beneficial for me to learn from their experiences and mold the script in that way. So it was very collaborative.
I've got to say, Ashok, what is it like to go through this and when it's done, know that people who are coming from, Southeast Asia, South Asia, and they get a chance to say, you know what? That's something I can connect with. That's something I understand. That you're kind of showing them a way that this happens to everybody.
Absolutely. I mean, for me also the same question 2 minutes back we were asking it, should we go back after retirement or, So that I think is always the question in immigrants' mind. Should I stay here longer? Should I, go back, visit countries? But love is love. I mean, you tend, this culture or Indian culture or whatever your original culture. I think it's sharing culture is, I think, most important for the generations. And you can see a couple of boys in the skate, Ayan and Arjun, they are living the life right now. They can, fight both the cultures. Parents want them to live Indian culture as well as, they want to be in a society where they can promote and, live the local culture as well. So, no, absolutely. I think best is to blend the cultures together and live happily.
I'll tell you what, you're going to get a chance to see all of this. And if you're thinking that maybe your story is just your story, it's not. It's a lot of stories that are going through here. And they're going to be 10 different plays for 3 days, starting tomorrow here at, I think it's Mosesian Theater here in Watertown. I've been getting the name wrong all morning, Brianna. But it starts at 6:45, 321 Arsenal Street here in Watertown. It's a fabulous place for it to be here this weekend.
Oh, Lev, thank you for showcasing it. They're incredible people. And like he said, it's so important to share each other's cultures and be able to relate to other people in your community. So this sounds amazing. Thank you. Still to come on CBS News Boston, is there a chance that the Patriots' long layoff in between games actually hurts them against Cincinnati? Our Steve Burton and ESPN's Mike Reese discuss that and more key storylines next.
Welcome back, friends. I think we will take what we can get here. Cloud cover will be dominating the skies later on today. Look at this, a gorgeous start to the morning. Even though we have a lot of clouds hanging overhead here, sunshine is starting to be able to peek through. Let's talk about what we're tracking here on our next weather headlines. A swipe of some scattered rain arriving for us Friday night through early Saturday, at least for the first half of our Saturday. We're definitely going to be dealing with some wet weather. But for the most part, though, temperatures are going to be largely unchanged. We have some of the upper 40s and lower 50s there, so we're going to be trading in a tight range between near average conditions and slightly below average conditions. And the big question is, are we going to have a couple wet days of travel leading into Thanksgiving? I'll answer that question as well. I'm going to keep the radar scan a bit large so you can see what's happening across the lower 48 as of right now. Our next system is right in between, but this is the system that could potentially throw some extra rain our way. It will be shunted to the south near the Four Corners region, move across the state of Texas, gobble up some of the moisture from the Gulf of Mexico, and then make a beeline right into the New England territory by the time we get to Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. As of right now, though, we're just dealing with cloud cover. We don't have any rain chances in the forecast for today nor tomorrow. It's not until we get to about midnight that we start to see the pop of rain chances ramp up across the region with the cold front moving on in. We are dry for Saturday. We're dry for Sunday. We're dry for Monday. And for the most part, we're going to be dry for Tuesday as well. It is Wednesday that has Jason Michael concern. Let's talk about the next system, okay? Most of the energy will be confined to areas south. Think towards Connecticut and Rhode Island, harboring up the most of these steady and also sort of kind of potent rain chances. I'm mainly talking about overnight travelers, okay? If you're sort of an earlier riser on the weekends there, you're definitely going to be exiting your home with a lot of rain moving into the region. Here's the hour by hour. Notice a lot of green there on the map. Most of the heaviest rain will be confined to the south coast there. I think the islands as well as the Cape will likely be garnering up some lingering rain showers as we move into the early afternoon on Saturday. We will still likely have a couple sort of extra hours of some cloud cover lingering through. So we're likely going to end the day on Saturday with mostly cloudy skies, unfortunately. But again, we're back dry and also sunny as we look towards Sunday. Northerly winds outside right now, keeping our morning lows in the 20s and even lower 30s. It feels like temperatures under those light winds are in the 20s as of right now. But again, we're expecting a lot of clouds again today, so we're going to be having another day of being below average. We should be around 50 degrees for this time of year. So the mid 40s, they're a little bit unsettling, but they're not terrible, okay? About 45 degrees is going to be my forecast high for Boston. That's the same for yesterday. 418, after we sort of hit the daytime highs today, is going to be the sunset later on this evening. So again, your weekend forecast is going to be a little bit different. Again, expecting cloud cover to dominate on Saturday, a little bit milder on Saturday, but also wetter on Saturday as well. Back drier once we look towards Sunday of next week again. Forecast lows overnight tonight, friends. Another cold night indeed. Mid to lower 20s and even lower 30s here in the city. After a couple days of dealing with the 40s there, we got a couple 50s to talk about, but 40s will be taking over heading into next week. Again, all eyes on the day before Thanksgiving next week, Brianna.
All right, Jason, thanks. Hey, the 9-2 Pats got a little extra rest last weekend coming off the Thursday night game, so they should be raring to go on Sunday. But when they go for their 9th win in a row, taking on the Bengals in Cincy, our Steve Burton and ESPN's Mike Reese talked about the team's long layoff and the possibility of facing off against Joe Burrow, who returned to practice.
Right now, right, they're on a roll.
Yes.
They've been on a roll.
Yes.
But they've had 10 days off, Mike, and that sort of scares me.
I know what you mean. Like, you get out of your rhythm a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me, Steve.
Minibot.
I know, right? And there's a part of me that feels like they needed the break, right? Like they were, just sort of sustaining and maybe seeing a little cracks
Just
in the
so long as they pick up right where they were left off.
I know. And will they? The reason I think they will is I want to tell you, I was at a Stefan Diggs event on Monday night.
Okay.
He had a charity event, welcomed families into the stadium, and the last words he said to the reporters that were gathered there
were what?
We're on a mission. And Steve, I'm like, this guy, he's so competitive. I'm like, we're at a charity event, and I'm getting those competitive vibes from him. And I just don't think he will let them let their guard down, or the other leaders. So I think
I like
okay.
that. I like that a lot. Okay, what I don't like, I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to. Joe Burrow's back. But is he really back? A full participant in practice.
Yeah. So this is really interesting, Steve. I think first and foremost, if you're the Patriots, you now have to make sure you dot your I's and cross your T's that he might play in the game, which I don't think anyone thought that going into today. They knew he was working his way back. It's entirely possible, Steve, that they're targeting not this week, but the next week. And
which is Thanksgiving?
And which is what Joe Burrow had said he was targeting.
The circle of Thanksgiving.
So let's see. Now, they might feel desperation, and Joe Burrow might say, I want to play. And if that's the case, the Patriots got to make sure they're ready, and I think they will be.
All right, join us tomorrow night for Patriots All Access. We are sitting down with Patriots wide receiver Matt Collins, one of Drake May's bigger targets. That's Friday night at 7 o'clock on WBZ, and we've got you covered from start to finish on Sunday, beginning with Patriots game day at 11:30. Game kicks off at 1, and afterwards, Patriots fifth quarter, all on WBZ. Coming up in the next hour, jury selection continues today in the Brian Walsh murder trial. We will be carrying that live on CBS News Boston in the 9 a.m. hour, and we'll have your latest news and next weather forecast as well. Good morning. It's 8:53. I'm Brianna Pitts. We'll have today's top stories, but first, meteorologist Jason Michael is here with a look at your next weather forecast, and you'll see just little peaks of sunshine today, Jason.
Just little peaks. That's all we're going to get for our Thursday here. Good morning, Brianna, and good Thursday morning, everybody. As Brianna was just saying, cloud cover will be dominating, unfortunately, again today. We're just above the freezing mark as of right now, but it feels like we're in the 20s still yet again. We have busy winds right around the city, not as busy as what they were earlier this week, only about 8 miles per hour as of right now. High temperatures again today will likely still be below average. We're going back into the mid to lower 40s again today. We nailed 45 degrees at Logan Airport yesterday, and I think we stand a really good chance of that happening again. Now, overnight Friday through early Saturday, at least for the first half of our Saturday, we will be tracking some wet weather moving back in. So early risers on Saturday, be advised, it's going to be a bit of a wet start there. We should be drying things out, certainly north of the Mass Pike as we move towards Saturday afternoon. Drier and sunnier by Sunday, and a lot of sunshine for Monday of next week with mild temperatures around 50 degrees there. We are still tracking the potential for a wet day of travel the day before Thanksgiving next week, Bree.
Okay, Jason, thanks. Let's check your travel times out the door. Expressway Braintree to Boston, solid 30-minute ride there. 40 minutes into the city on 93 southbound. Mass Pike is a 53-minute ride eastbound into the city, and Route 24 just 12 minutes. Well, former Harvard president Larry Summers has taken leave from the university over his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. Here are your top stories.
Some of you will have seen my statement of regret, expressing my shame.
I was just feeling a lot of shock, as I think the people around me were as well.
Current student took this now viral video where the former president of Harvard University, Larry Summers, addressed his ties to Epstein before moving on to teach a class earlier this week. Emails released by Congress last week show friendly messages between Summers and Epstein. In one, Summers appears to ask Epstein for relationship advice. Now Summers has stopped teaching immediately, and 3 of his co-teachers will finish out the semester. Harvard also confirms that he's not scheduled to teach next semester. Well, the worker killed in Tuesday's trench collapse in Yarmouth has been identified as 61-year-old Miguel Reyes of Fall River. Officials say he was part of the team doing sewer work on South Shore Drive and was completely entrapped by the collapse. His nephew remembered his uncle.
My uncle was a wonderful human being, a great, lively person who always wanted to make people smile. I think any death like this is hard, especially when it comes so unexpected.
All 2 other workers were rescued, one still in the hospital. Federal safety officials are still investigating. And day 3 of jury selection is slated to start this morning in the trial of Brian Walsh. 12 people have been seated so far on the jury that will determine whether the Cohasset man killed his wife Anna on New Year's Day of 2023. Her body has never been found. Dozens of potential jurors have been dismissed over the last 2 days for having prior knowledge of the case. Of the seated jurors, 6 are men, 6 are women. The judge is looking for at least 4 more before the trial moves forward. Walsh has pleaded not guilty to murder. Earlier this week, he changed his plea to guilty on 2 lesser charges, misleading a police investigation and mishandling a body. Well, this has been a WBZ News Update. If you're watching us on CBS News Boston, we'll be back in a few minutes. Have a great day. right now on CBS.